Gone from the creation, the childhood, to the confusion, to the compromise, to the conflict, to the very crisis of our world. The big issues to do with black and white, men and women, Catholic and Protestant and Hindu and Muslim. You know, who told us that we should be separated in those aspects? But we are. There is fertility in crisis. Never ignore a crisis. It may not be good, we may not want to get there, but when we do, what extraordinary things come out of it. If we allow them in ourselves, not to point the finger like every generation did for 2,000 years. We don't hear accurately to know in the next second of our life. And what I mean by that can be termed into like money. I mean, money for thousands of years before Nero and the Roman Empire had a divinity attached to it. There was a circulation flow. There was a divinity to money that was at its origin. It was a sacred sacrament to Mother Earth to do with harvest. And then from the grain, we turned into metals. And then we paid metals to soldiers, because obviously we weren't going to fill their pockets with grain. And then the Romans started to nick the Celts' gold from Ireland to Europe. And so suddenly we move into fear, guilt, greed, and shame and hoarding of money. So by the time Nero comes along the Roman Empire, we completely separated from the original hearing accurately of what money was about. And so we, as a generation now, have come to this place after 2,000 years of generations before us that now have to ask the question, what is money and what is its value? Is it no money down mortgages? 130 million people in America woke up last year and probably asked that question. Is it 100 times multiple earnings on stock market prices that don't exist? Who baited us into recognizing derivatives and all of these aspects? So we've stretched what the truth of money is to make it what it's not. And so now we're having to deal with it. Iceland had to deal with it. Greece is having to deal with it. England and America and everywhere is having to deal with it. But what's really interesting is that in Nairobi, in the poorest slums of the world, there isn't a mortgage crisis. And a shilling is a shilling. A trade of an apple is equal to a trade. There is no distortion. We have to also recognize that the simplest thing on the planet and the most powerful weapon on our planet is education. It's my own ability to respond and also the world's ability to respond to the issues in the world. Do any of you remember your mum and pop?
No.
When
I grow up, I would like to be a president.
I want to be a tattoo.
My name is Emmanuel P. Fremont, former child soldier.
My name is Alexander Goya, former child soldier. My name is Shingen Steekland, former child soldier. I'm Joseph Matale, former child soldier.
I am no more general for war affair, I'm general for peace.
You have the opportunity, the challenge to choose the destiny of this planet, of this country, of this community, of this room. And collectively, when we come together with each of our different skill sets, we can change this world. I feel blessed that I was with people like Cher and others in my youth because we did a lot of humanitarian work and I got involved in seeing just the beauty of people and the souls of their eyes. Like she was in a film called Mask. That was to do with children craniofacial disease. I was in Wall Street or I was in the stock market in London, or we're just doing the next epic Hollywood deal. You say, well, you know, what's it all about? When really there's more prosperity of heart and soul in the poorest of the poor. Hello, Suzanne.
Hello, Charlie. We do collect paper bags, plastic paper bags. We are taking care of the environment. We don't want the papers to scatter everywhere. And we're making a living out of it. We thank God. We really thank God for it.
Well, how many of you are HIV?
Almost all of us.
All of us, yeah.
Yeah.
The world has cried out economically, environmentally, obviously, in every aspect to do with poverty that kills in Africa, to do with malnutrition that we're seeing now as an epidemic in Britain and America. All of these things are really clear. And it's not just clear to individuals, it's clear to the masses, to the absolute masses. So the fact that the world is mirroring this really quite loudly has made us stumble over having to understand those cries. And we're still stumbling, but we're really recognizing them more and more. And so I see a tremendous amount of hope right now in the fact that this is a generation that has been given en masse a gift of the challenge of choosing the destiny of the planet. It wasn't given to our forefathers, might not be given to our children. It is now. It is absolutely now. And why it is because of our overconsumption of fossil fuels, because only a few years ago there was 1 billion people on our planet, and in the last few years or decades there's been this cycle of population increase, so we have 6.5 billion people on the planet. And we cannot be apathetic to just thinking it's going to be okay, Jack, it's not going to hit my back door, it's not going to hit my family, because it is. It really is. Typical environment here in the slums where we see 4 generations. There's 3 here right now, and there are a number of other daughters that are out. I think in the region of around about 7 or 8 people are living here, and every single generation has AIDS. They are all women. There are no men here. They have no way at the moment of making a living, and Alice is really excited because daughter is in fact going to be one of the women that's going to be starting the microloan program. Of course, the table map. And I think that the greatest medicine in the world is compassion, and the compassion of one's own heart. And I started to learn and understand at a very deep level that everyone in the world is doing the best that they know how. I've visioned ideas in my life, and I've actioned them immediately. I visioned a world where humanity was united in its own brilliance, where there was an opportunity for us to have every child educated, an opportunity for us to receive rainwater and then give it. It's crazy that we should be paying more for water than we are for petrol or gasoline today. It's crazy, but we do. There's one thing to vision, but visioning is nothing in creating the mission or the goals of our life unless we action. Most of us are paralyzed in how to action things. And I am very, very keen to support people in moving into the action of any aspect of their life, whether it's a simple business decision today or whether it's a huge dream that collectively we can have for our planet.